take a close look at this bizarre letter. The original was obviously cut from a magazine, and it's pretty creepy. It's threatening an informant who's about to testify. Police now say they think it's connected to the Angela Hammond case, and the wrong woman was kidnapped.
When it comes to murder mysteries, the true legend of the genre remains the late, great Agatha Christie. Over the years, a number of her best-selling books have been adapted into plays, and one of them is about to open in Sydney. It's called And Then There Were None, and
You know, there are some things you see in life that never really leave you. I don't talk about this often, but over 20 years ago, I was at a gas station in Atlanta late at night, just putting gas in my car. And these two guys walked up to me, tired, panicked, and they were holding a photo of a teenage girl. She was missing. They asked me if I'd seen her. I hadn't. Then they asked me if I knew where the nearest crack house was. They believed her boyfriend was deep into drugs, and they thought she might be with him. I didn't know what to say. I was just passing through. Didn't know the area. Couldn't help them. They got back in their car and drove off. And to this day, I think about that girl. At least once a month, sometimes every week. I've always wondered if they ever found her. I've always wondered what happened. And maybe that's why stories like Angela Hammond's hit so hard for me. Angela's case is one of those stories that sticks with you, even if you only hear it once. She was 20 years old when she disappeared from Clinton, Missouri in 1991. She was on the phone with her boyfriend Rob at a payphone. And then she screamed. Gone. Rob says he heard the struggle over the phone, jumped in his truck, and saw a green Ford truck driving off with Angela inside. He tried to chase it, but his transmission gave out when he threw it in reverse while moving forward. He watched her get taken and couldn't stop it. Can you imagine the weight of that? At first glance, yeah, I get it. Your suspicions go to the boyfriend. It's almost always someone close. But according to the Charlie Project and the FBI, he was cleared. Still, I can't help but wonder why. What did they find that was convincing enough to eliminate him completely? Because there's a lot about this case that doesn't add up. Angela had described a filthy, bearded man circling the parking lot in a green pickup before the abduction. That detail, that guy, where did he come from? Was he watching her? Was this planned? If so, why her? Usually kidnappers stalk their victims. They plan. So was this guy following Angela for a while? Was it random or something else? And then there's the weird part. She was on the phone with Rob for 30 minutes from a payphone when he was just 7 blocks away. Why? Why wouldn't she just drive to meet him? Why stay on the phone that long? It's odd, right? And here's something else that's bugged me. Why would an abductor with a screaming captive drive south through downtown Clinton at midnight? Why not head north into rural farmland where there are no streetlights, no witnesses? But if you know Clinton, even driving south a minute or two puts you in rural territory. So maybe that wasn't a mistake after all. There's also the theory that Kenneth McDuff might have been involved. I don't know enough about him to say for sure, but he's definitely a monster who was active around that time. Still, without more evidence, it's just speculation. And Rob, the boyfriend. His truck was found in the middle of the road, broken down. There were tire marks showing he had turned around sharply, maybe even dangerously. That tells me he probably did try to chase after her. He probably did panic. And honestly, what else could he have done? It's stories like these that stick with me. Not just the headline cases, but the little personal moments that haunt people forever. That night in Atlanta, I never found out who that girl was. I never saw those men again. I don't know if she was found or if she's still missing to this day. But I think about her constantly. And when I look at cases like Angela Hammond's, all I can do is ask the same questions. What happened? Who did this? And why haven't we found the truth yet? Because someone out there knows.
Angela Marie Hammond was born on February 9, 1971, in Kansas City, Kansas. She was the oldest child of Christopher and Marcia Hammond and had a younger brother named Lauren. In 1975, the family moved to Clinton, Missouri, a small, quiet farming town about 80 miles from their original home. The move was motivated in part by financial support from Marcia's parents, who lived in Clinton and helped with childcare. Angie grew up surrounded by a close-knit community where everyone knew one another. From a young age, she was described as outgoing, energetic, and fun-loving, traits that remained consistent as she grew older. As Angie entered adulthood, she enrolled at Central Missouri State University, pursuing her studies while maintaining close ties with family and friends. In January 1991, after dating for about a year, Angie's boyfriend, Rob Schaefer, proposed to her. Rob was a star athlete in high school and had a steady presence in her life. The relationship was marked by genuine affection and shared hopes for the future. The proposal came soon after Rob learned Angie was pregnant, adding urgency to their plans. Together, they moved into a mobile home, preparing for the arrival of their child and discussing their future. Rob planned to join the military later that year, aiming to provide a stable life for Angie and their unborn baby. Friends and family saw them as a happy couple, deeply connected and committed to building a life together. Angie's ordinary, hopeful existence made the events that would follow all the more devastating for those who knew her. Her close relationships and joyful spirit would become the foundation of the emotional story behind her disappearance. This quiet life in Clinton, Missouri, was about to be shattered. On the evening of April 4, 1991, Angie Hammond and her fiancé, Rob Schaefer, spent time together at a barbecue held at Angie's mother's home. After the gathering, Angie dropped Rob off at his house where he was babysitting his younger brother. As planned, Rob intended to meet Angie later that night. Around 11:15 p.m., Angie called Rob from a payphone in the Food Barn parking lot, located just 7 blocks from his home. During the phone call, Angie mentioned that she noticed a green Ford pickup truck repeatedly circling the block. She described the driver as a filthy, bearded man wearing overalls and a dark baseball cap. A notable feature of the truck was a large mural painted on the back window showing a fish jumping out of water. The man eventually parked the truck near the phone booth, exited, and began shining a flashlight at the ground, seemingly searching for something. Though Angie grew increasingly uneasy, she stayed on the line with Rob. Rob encouraged her to ask the man if he needed to use the phone. The man denied needing it, but continued his suspicious behavior. Suddenly, Rob heard Angie scream, followed by a man's voice saying, "I didn't need to use the phone anyway." The call abruptly ended. Panicked, Rob immediately left his house and got into his car, rushing toward the payphone. As he drove, he spotted a truck matching Angie's description speeding past in the opposite direction. From the truck, someone called out Rob's name. Determined, Rob threw his car into reverse and gave chase. Unfortunately, after 2 miles, his car's transmission failed and the truck disappeared into the night, taking Angie with it. Following Angie Hammond's abduction, the Clinton Police Department swiftly mobilized alongside the Missouri State Highway Patrol to conduct an extensive search effort. Their investigation covered wide areas, both on foot and by air, focusing heavily on locating the distinctive green Ford pickup truck with a large fish mural on its rear window, one of the few solid leads in the case. Law enforcement ran a computer search through 1,600 registered vehicles, matching the truck's description, but none proved to be a match. Early on, suspicion fell on Angie's fiancé, Rob Schaefer, due to the absence of other witnesses to back up his story. However, Rob fully cooperated with investigators, willingly submitted to a polygraph examination, and was officially cleared within a week. The Hammond family stood firmly behind him, never doubting his innocence despite the community's occasional doubts. In the days following, several witnesses came forward, describing a strange man driving a green pickup truck lurking in the Food Barn parking lot on the night of Angie's disappearance. Their accounts corroborated Rob's version of events, lending credibility to his statements. Despite the significant resources committed, the search yielded no trace of Angie or the suspect vehicle. The disappearance shocked the quiet farming town of Clinton, leaving residents fearful and searching for answers.
For the police, the case quickly became a frustrating puzzle with few tangible leads and mounting pressure to solve it.
Law enforcement considered the possibility that Angie Hammond's abduction was connected to two other unresolved cases in the region, suggesting a broader pattern of violent crimes against women in west-central Missouri. The first case involved 42-year-old Trudy Darby, who was abducted on January 19, 1991, from a convenience store in Max Creek. Trudy had called her son moments before, reporting a suspicious man lurking outside. Shortly after, both she and the man disappeared. 2 days later, Trudy's body was found on a riverbank 10 miles away. She had been raped and fatally shot. Her half-brothers, Marvin Chaney and Jesse Rush, were convicted for her murder. The second case concerned Cheryl Ann Kenny, a 30-year-old convenience store worker in Nevada, Missouri, about 70 miles from where Trudy's body was discovered. Cheryl vanished on February 28, 1991, shortly after closing her store. Despite extensive searches, Cheryl has never been found, and her disappearance remains unsolved. Detective Damon Parsons and other investigators noted similarities among these cases, including victim profiles and the nature of the abductions. Parsons expressed hope that solving one case could provide crucial leads connecting them all. However, no definitive evidence has ever tied Angie's disappearance directly to either Trudy or Cheryl's cases. This section places Angie's disappearance within the unsettling context of a possible serial offender or related crimes targeting women in the area. It underscores the regional fear that multiple victims might be connected, highlighting the complexity and broader significance of Angie Hammond's case beyond Clinton, Missouri.
Following Angie Hammond's disappearance, numerous reported sightings and potential leads surfaced, but none led to a recovery. Despite intensive searches spanning multiple states and extending into Canada, no confirmed evidence of Angie's whereabouts ever materialized. One of the most intriguing reports came from Russell Smith, who claimed to have seen Angie in September 1991 in Selkirk, Manitoba. According to Smith, Angie entered a green Ford pickup truck adorned with a distinctive fish mural on its rear window, the same unique detail described during her abduction. While this sighting initially offered hope, investigators were ultimately unable to verify its authenticity. Over time, as leads became scarce and the trail grew cold, frustration mounted among both Angie's family and law enforcement. Detectives publicly acknowledged that someone, somewhere, likely possessed important information but might not realize its significance or have the courage to come forward. Despite the passage of months and years, the community remained emotionally invested, holding on to hope for a resolution. This section underscores the persistent efforts made to locate Angie and the emotional toll the lack of progress took on those involved. It reveals the challenges investigators faced in transforming tips and eyewitness accounts into actionable evidence, and it captures the enduring uncertainty that has defined this case for decades.
Initially, law enforcement considered Marvin Chaney and Jesse Rush, who were convicted for the murder of Trudy Darby, as possible perpetrators involved in other regional cases, including Angie's. Though their criminal history and confessions to additional violent acts made them persons of interest, neither ever admitted to involvement with Angie's abduction, and no concrete evidence linked them to her case. Authorities also evaluated two notorious serial killers active in Missouri during the relevant period. Kenneth McDuff, whose violent spree spanned from 1966 to 1992, was residing in Kansas City, roughly 76 miles from Clinton in 1992. Despite his admissions to many murders, McDuff consistently denied any role in Angie's disappearance, and no forensic or circumstantial evidence connected him to the case. Larry Hall, known for confessing to dozens of Midwest murders, was another person of interest. While Hall bore some resemblance to Angie's abductor and had a history of targeting women, his crimes typically involved a van rather than a pickup truck, the distinctive vehicle involved in Angie's kidnapping. Like the others, no definitive evidence ever implicated Hall.
investigators revealed a new theory suggesting that Angie may have been abducted mistakenly. On April 4, 1991, the day Angie vanished, a confidential informant connected to a narcotics case received a cut-and-paste threatening letter. The letter accurately included the informant's court-issued number and the name of his estranged wife, and warned that your foxy daughter would be targeted. Crucially, the informant had a daughter named Angela living in Clinton at the time, leading authorities to believe that Angie Hammond might have been confused with this other Angela because of their similar names and appearances. This possibility opened a new investigative avenue after decades with few leads. An anonymous caller later contacted police confirming details from the letter, but failed to maintain further communication. While the mistaken identity theory remains unproven, it provides a compelling explanation for Angie's abduction and continues to be actively investigated. This update re-energized the case by suggesting that the perpetrator's intent may have been directed towards someone else, adding a new layer to the unresolved mystery surrounding Angie Hammond's fate.